We're back from the weekend on Locked On Coyotes. We're going to get caught up with a lot of the things we might have missed over the last week, and we're going to get a little updates on just some of the Arizona Coyotes roster news. All of that on today's episode of Locked On Coyotes.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Robyn Leonio. That's Carl Pavlok right beside me on today's episode of Locked On Coyotes. We want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. We are free and available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. We got a great show for you guys today. We had about a week off. I had about a week off after a really long moving process, moving from Tucson to the Valley, but I'm glad to finally get back into the swing of things, Carl. And I want to thank you for holding the fort down as long as you could.
Yeah, unfortunately, some personal issues came up, so we weren't able to get any other episodes out. I had planned to do some solo stuff, but I was glad that I was able to get on the record for the Crouse contract signing. That was good, and glad to have you back. Glad you're up in the valley. We're getting a storm right now, so I don't know if you're getting rain, but it's weird. We're gonna have close to the same weather.
I know, right? I don't see any. I mean, I see the clouds coming in, and I know it's going to rain, but you never know. It just.
I could hear like the wind blowing like kind of hard. So I'm like, oh shit, it is going to rain.
Yep, absolutely. That was me yesterday. But glad to be up in the valley. It's really nice up here. Obviously very different than Tucson, but I like it. But let's get today's episode started, Carl. We're going to start with some prospect news, right? Because the World Junior Championship is going on right now in Canada, which if you look at some of the pictures, not a lot of fans are attending these games, first and foremost.
Nope.
But which is a really sad thing. But there were some Coyotes prospects playing in the games here, and most notably Logan Cooley, the kid who was drafted third overall by the Coyotes in his past draft. And he's looking good out there.
Yeah, Cooley has a goal and 2 assists so far. I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but he went for a lacrosse style goal. Didn't hit it, which was fun. But there was some discourse about that, especially for they're up against a team that Team USA is expected to beat handily. Do you really do something like that? Kind of reminded me a lot of the controversy around Zegras and Tyson Nash, just a little bit. I think that's very funny, especially because I recently wrote about or about Jay Beagle. I did his player grade on 5 for Howling, so just I was living in that connection and seeing Cooley try the lacrosse goal. I was like, oh, that's fun. That's great Coyotes talking points right there.
I mean, that's a typical way of a college kid too, right? Everyone who's committed to go to college is going to try to perform to Michigan,
Yeah. And I mean, it definitely feels like at this point, it feels like a very college move.
It is a very college move.
Yeah. And I like that. I like the fact that the NCAA is doing something and is kind of leading the growth like that. And I want Cooley to score as many goals as he can. Like, even if he's expected to beat the team, like, I want him to like get that experience and not give up. So far he's having a great tournament though.
Yeah, we're glad he's playing because pre-tournament scrimmage, there was that news that broke out that got everyone freaking out that he left getting helped by his teammates to go to the locker room. We're all like so freaking out. It's like, oh no, not another one.
Yeah.
But he ended up, being fine. He just got freaking cut, and it's like, oh god, thank God. Everyone took a huge sigh of relief, just huge, just breath. It was just amazing.
Yeah. And I think the other Coyotes player who is currently there, just also from the last draft, Maximilian Zuper. Not sure if
Hmm,
I'm pronouncing that correctly. A defenseman for Team Germany, which is nice. You never really think too much about Germany at that
right.
tournament. They're not one of the top hockey nations, but nice to see a player getting in some reps, representing his team. The Coyotes have had, some good history with German players. I cannot sing enough praise for Tobias Rieder.
Yeah, it is interesting seeing that German connection for the Arizona Coyotes, and they're just bringing it back. Just bring it back. There's two German players that were drafted in this previous, but like they were drafted, but obviously not that are playing in the dual juniors. But
Yeah, and one of them was Polish too.
Polish, he was
So
Polish. That was
although
uh,
I think that is super. I think he's born in Poland. Yeah. So who's the other one? The Coyotes
I think it
drafted.
was Miko Matika.
Yes. The, such a like you could tell that the team really listened to their European scouting staff because just a lot of good European players.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the things that we've heard people talk about, people are pretty high on their second round pick and Artem Duda. So, um,
Yeah,
but it's nice to see these kind of picks go out and perform, to see what kind of stuff they can continue to do.
you know, we don't really have too much of an opportunity to watch all of the prospects before. It's why when we could, we tried to bring on like people who do that and
Right.
for the draft profiles. But now that we know who the Coyotes have, now that we know who's in the system, you could really start to like key in and focus on some players and be like, hey, this is what this player's doing. You can get a better sense of their development. You know, definitely makes it easier to evaluate them.
And that's why a lot of us are paying attention to a lot of these prospects, right? Like Dylan Gunther and so Dylan Gunther, Connor Geeky, and Logan Cooley have like a microscope on them from the Coyotes fan base, right?
Hmm.
And I'll even add Josh Jones on the microscope just because of the fact that he's the son of a Coyote great. Like I feel bad
Yeah,
for him in that way, but that's gonna have that's pretty much the case.
yeah, and I do often wonder, like, it seems like of those four players you listed, Doan is definitely the one I think is maybe getting a little too much attention. Like anytime I see someone like, so is Doan gonna be playing for the team next year? I'm like, no, he's not.
No, he's not gonna be playing for like another 3 more years at least.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like he goes like his senior year, but I could see him getting his degree with
No,
ASU.
no, honestly, I can even see him redshirt, so he gets like like a pseudo fifth year, even though he doesn't really play one of those years.
Yeah, it's definitely like he is the player that always stands out. Where like just because he is down because he had a good first year with ASU, like the expectations are kind of high for him. But when you look at a player like Gunther, who pretty much sustained this fan base with highlights during last season, now that's going to be Cooley's job.
Oh yeah, it is absolutely going to be Cooley's job to just wow everybody. And based off what we've been talking about, the fact that he is going to wow everybody, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment, though, because we do have to take a quick step aside to hear from a sponsor.
So I have to say, if you haven't tried the Built Bar Puffs yet, you are depriving yourself of one of life's greatest joys. And guess what? There's a new flavor. It is the delicious, the indulgent cookie dough. Plus, it's covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, Bill has done it again. Let me introduce you to your new favorite, the cookie dough chunk puff. They have a light and chewy flavor. You get that real cookie dough chunk, and of course, all of that chocolate. Uh, I have gotten them. I have tried the cookie dough chunk puff. It's kind of hard to say, but it is very delicious. I love the taste and the like just texture of cookie dough. It's one of my favorites. I love cookie dough ice cream, and you get that exact same like flavor and texture all in a great package. And it's only 160 calories with a whopping 15 grams of protein. What I want you to do is go to built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 or LOCKEDON15 to get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKEDON15 for 15% off at built.com.
All right, so let's keep talking a little more about Logan Cooley, because a report officially came out, Carl, that he has affirmed his commitment to the NCAA to
Mm-hmm.
play at the University of Minnesota. And some of you might be like, "Oh, wait, that's not really news." I thought that was the case. We've heard rumors in the past, right, Carl,
Yeah.
of the fact that he might have decided to skip out on NCAA and go to Major Junior to
Yeah.
CHL.
Which would be an interesting move. It would allow him to potentially like get some more action with the Coyotes,
Hmm.
because he could sign a entry level contract. He could get like the first couple games of the season. But this was, let's see, where did I see it? And it looks like Josh Erickson wrote the article. I am not seeing the publication it's with. Cooley planning on honoring his college commitment. I do like the fact that he's honoring his commitment. That's a real good sign. Like ultimately, for a player like Cooley, he's got to do his best for his career. But I mean, I was a bit surprised to hear rumors that he may be switching because seems like it would have been something he would have known by now. But yeah, he's reconfirmed to the university path.
Which is nice. I honestly I like that path, right? Like obviously it's so fun to watch the CHL, with the WHL, OHL, whatever you want, whichever side bit of it. Like it's really fun. But
The
the
Q,
NCAA is also awesome, right?
yeah,
Especially given the fact that here in the valley we have a NCAA hockey team literally just down the street in Arizona
yeah.
State. Like um
And Cooley will be playing, or Cooley's team, the University of Minnesota, will be playing against the Arizona State University Sun Devils. So you could watch him early. Um, I think it just really goes to show how well United States hockey has been over the past couple years. Like we talk a lot about the National Development Program,
mhm.
but NCAA. When I first started watching, like the thought of a player going the NCAA route, if they were a player like Cooley, that seemed like pretty. Like I don't want to say it would never happen, but it would probably never happen. Like
Yeah.
the juniors were definitely the stronger development league for a while, and it's great to see NCAA has stepped up in the past, decade or so.
And I think the good thing with that is because of the way the NCAA works is because these guys can't sign contracts, so they don't feel rushed to try to be like, all right, I want to make sure I'm in tip top shape so I can try to make the team next year. Like these
Yeah,
players aren't doing that. They're spending at least 2, 3, 4 years at a university, not only getting their studies, but also, developing for top programs. University of Minnesota is a top program in the NCAA, as is, like Boston College and Boston University and Quinnipiac. And, you know, Arizona State is still not an elite program, but
nah.
it's getting there, right? It's growing. It made the tournament a couple years ago. So
Yeah. It's definitely it's a great spot. There's fantastic personnel who are able to kind of help you develop and grow as a player. If you're a player like Cooley who's coming in, you're like, all right, here's my plan. I need to be a professional hockey player in like 2 years, 2 years max, maybe one. And you get your nutritionist, you get your conditioning coach, you get all that. They're like, okay, we're gonna turn you into a hockey player in 2 years. Not that he's not already a hockey player, but they're gonna help him take that next step.
Which is also nice though, because like there isn't much that Cooley really has to work on, as we talked about, right? When we had we had our prospect guy on, he's just like, yeah, like he's got it really. If he just keeps on that, like
Yeah, he definitely needs to like build weight.
yeah.
He's not.
That's the big thing. I mean that's the case for a lot of young guys, right?
Yeah,
They need to bulk up and get their weight because at when you're what's his weight, like 100 and
170 something, I
yeah, he's
believe.
in the 170s, which for an NHL player is small. Like
Yeah,
yeah, he's got to get weight.
yeah, and I mean that's just a normal thing. Like if you are an 18-year-old hockey player, like you're probably going to be undersized compared to a 33-year-old NHL player.
Well, yeah, because your body's
So
not done developing yet.
yeah, yeah. So just give him that time, like, and more just kind of like set him aside and make sure that he is doing the right things. So it's great. I'm glad to see Cooley make this next step. Uh, it'll be interesting, like, because I do kind of wonder, like, are we going to get like another version of this rumor after the tournament, like when the season starts to come up, or is this the end of it? Because we both know rumors sometimes just never die in hockey.
Oh no, like rumors will stick around for ages and ages and ages. Like it is like until like there is like, not even then, because I was about to say until there is like like written in stone proof that said rumor is not going to happen. Like even then, people were still like, may still might.
Yeah, we may get to like December. Cooley will be like midway through the season, and people like, I don't know, maybe he makes goes up to Canada, maybe. Or like, it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen, but who knows?
Absolutely, absolutely. But let's move on from talking about Logan Cooley and some of the prospects because it's been a week, Carl, obviously since it happened. But I want to be able to talk about it because I haven't, and I know I listened to the show when Crouse, signed his contract, right? Lawson Crouse signed his contract, and I think you wanted my opinion on it.
Yeah.
um,
Well,
I like
it's
this deal.
interesting because let me just say, like, we talked a lot about this deal. This is not something that we thought, but the money is strangely close to where we were at.
Yeah, I
So
think it was right in between what we both had. I had it at 4.2. You had it at 4 point like 7, right? So it's
yeah,
closer to me. He was at 4.3.
hmm
But the
five
term is what
years.
which is which is what really surprised me because if you did you see what the report was about where they were in terms of contract dollar value for 1 year, right? Kraus wanted 4 million. The Coyotes offered 2.5, and we're just like, wait,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, what? And then they end up going for a 5-year contract worth 4.3. I'm just like, why did that happen? Like, how did this happen? Am I going to complain that it happened? No, because Lawson Crouse is now locked up long term, and you get to see a guy of a leader, a true, who I believe to be a great player, to be on the Coyotes long term for the next 5 years, and that's great.
yeah. And I will say something that was not available when I did that episode. Looks like there's no clauses or anything in there. So no trades, no movement. Which I mean, if that had, because there usually is a financial aspect of that. Like theoretically, if they were like at 5 million or 4.3 in a no trade, that makes sense. But not even that. Like it, I do kind of wonder because we saw those early like comparables for 5, and I think the Coyotes are definitely gonna get a steal for this. This is a player who the team like has shown that they really want. And $4.3 million seems like a solid, solid. I don't think we're going to be saying that Lawson Crouse of all players is overpaid in the next couple of years.
Oh no, I don't think so. I mean, a lot of us will be kind of standing on edge because of how he performed, not last season, but in the previous season and one before that too. It's like, yeah, he's not playing fantastic, but you saw what he was capable of under the new system, under the Tourney system, because the previous ones were Rick Tocchet. And Tocchet,
Yeah,
we talked about how, the difference between Tocchet and Tourney multiple times, and it's pretty evident. And the fact that it looks like he fits in pretty well, like, it seems to make sense. Obviously, he's going to be even put to a more challenge because it's going to be a different roster this year. Still a lot. I mean, some roughly the same, but like pairings are going to, line pairings are going to be different.
yeah. That is definitely one of the things. What center do you put him with?
Who? I don't know. That's a good question. Like maybe get him alongside Barrett Hayton.
Yeah, who of course still needs to be resigned. Um,
Oh
but
yeah, that's
he
true.
is not
Yeah,
arbitration
he
eligible.
doesn't have
So
arbitration, so like, but he's probably just holding out for now. I don't know
yeah.
why, but
I mean, Hayton is the only one who kind of makes sense. Like if you're sticking with Boyd, Schmaltz, and Keller, your other center options are Nick Bugstad, Smith or McBain, Carconi.
yeah, no, Hayton's the only one that makes sense. And then maybe move like Smith and McBain to a winger, one or the other.
Uh, a Crouse and McBain. That's just a big guy line right there.
The yeah the we got to come up with a name for that line if it were to happen. See,
or the
I'm gonna come try kind of coming up with ideas for lines and D pairs. Yeah, the ones that are never gonna happen. Like I was so upset when the bear pair never became a thing.
yeah. I mean, you were reaching with that, like because they are very different types of players.
Yeah, but still, like, why not?
I just know that in a couple years, because I mean, especially since Cross is going to be around, we will probably see a Connor Geeky Lawson Crouse line at one point, and that's just going to be the biggest line.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big line. Oh my god, to think about that one. Who do
It'll,
you
it'll be
who
the
else
how's the weather line.
who else do you put up there? Because
I don't.
I would personally put Gigi on the wing. So those are your two wingers.
Yeah.
And who are you centering that?
Uh,
Unless you want to put Gigi at center and put like, I don't know.
how big is Nate Smith?
Nate Smith?
Yeah. Oh, he's only 6 foot. That's way too small for that line.
It's way too small.
Yeah, we're building that line for size, nothing else. I'm not sure the Coyotes are going to need to find the big center.
We'll see what it looks like. I think it would look. You know what would look really funny is you have two big guys. So you have um Kraus and Geeky, and then what am I thinking of? Uh, yeah, and then you go ahead and put. You can maybe slot in Dylan Gunther actually.
See, I put in Cooley. Just a 5'10" guy with a couple of 6'7".
That would look funny. That would look really funny.
And the 5'10" guy is the one like
He's
doing
the center,
face offs in the center.
and he's the one
Oh
that needs to
yeah.
have the better vision because he needs to see where they are.
I mean, you're not gonna have any problem seeing where they are. That's not gonna be an issue at all.
I do like the idea of Gunther though, because 6'2", like that fits kind of.
Yeah. The you know, I cannot wait for another year of Gunther highlights. And then I think that's gonna be it. Because I do think he looks like he is close to ready to making the jump to the NHL.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's going to be a lot of talk about it coming up in training camp. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But any final thoughts you'd like to share before we close things off?
I'm looking forward to more Cooley highlights, and of course, best of luck to all of the prospects at the World Juniors going on right now.
Yeah, it's so weird that we're in the makeup of the World Junior, right? Like this is the makeup
It is.
of last year's World Juniors, and then we're all gonna get ready for next year's World Juniors, literally like 4 months from now.
Yeah, it feels very weird. It's a very weirdly timed event, but yeah, I wish I could watch it. I wish it was easier to watch in the States.
Yeah, unless you have NHL Network, which I know a lot of you guys do who are listening, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. I do not because I don't have NHL Network. I don't have cable. There's lots of reasons, and have that fancy TNT contract. Freaking put some ESPN Plus hockey on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they can use that. But then again, it's not NHL sanctioned; it's IIHF sanctioned. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure there's agreements and contracts and all that
what would be
jazz.
different though would be the World Junior, not the World Junior, the World Cup if it comes up again, the World Cup of hockey, because that is
That'd be
actually
fun. Yes. That would definitely be very good. I like the World Cup of hockey. I like the Team North
Team
America,
North
the young guns.
America.
Yeah. I don't think it.
We'll never
That
have
was like
Team North
such a
America like we did in 2016. Like
no, because it was just an insanely stacked team.
yeah, because that was what he had Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, Nathan McKinnon. Like you had
Jack Eichel.
Jack Eichel, like unfreaking believable, unbelievable talent that was on that year. I think was
Yeah.
Clayton Keller on that?
I don't think so.
I think that was too early for. Was it too early for Clayton Keller? Yeah, no, I think he wasn't on it, but Shane Gostisbehere was on it.
Yeah, it was still in juniors.
Yeah, Johnny Gaudreau was on it. Morgan Riley, Ryan Nugent Hopkins, like yeah, that was a stacked. We're never gonna have a Team North America like that again, but
Unfortunately, not.
but that's okay. Anyways, though, that was a weird sidetrack that we didn't really need, but it was fun to do anyways. But we're out of time on this episode of Locked On Coyotes. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/lockedoncoyotes, and on Instagram at lockedoncoyotes, and on Twitter at LO_coyotes. I am personally at Robyn_Leano. It's Robyn with a Y _LEANO. Carl Pavlock is at Carl Pavlock FFH. Interact with us, ask the question you might have. We might answer right back or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.